there are still many there. There are many. I believe that those people said that they are the.
When you begin to hide yourself from the business I'm doing, how to keep business, like customer business, you see.
Hello and welcome to Talking Migration with me, Oyin Adekunle. 5 months after being rendered homeless in Trinidad and Tobago, Nigerian man Benjamin Ojo has been rescued. Ojo was rescued through the Ilerioluwa Development Initiative of the Osun State First Lady, Kafayat Oyetola, after a video of him calling to be brought back to Nigeria went viral on social media. Before his repatriation, Ojo had lived in Trinidad and Tobago for 12 years and he had been sick for 3 years without a job.
I feel like it's God's will that bring me back here. Whatever happened in life, it happened for a reason. Everybody here today, we are here for a reason. And I believe God wants this to happen. That's how it happened. That is why it's happening. So I believe in God and I know something good is going to happen to this country. As I'm here, trust me, I see a lot of things. I've been in a lot of countries. Trinidad is a good country. But a lot of Nigerians that are there, they are suffering. They need help.
From what he has said, you would have probably you have a brief background of what took him out. He's been out of the country for over 12 years, but for the past 3-4 years, he's been making attempts to come back home. And he became homeless in the process. He lost his wife, who is a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, in the process. He has a 6-year-old daughter, which he's been taking care of alone. So it became a problem to him. At the point, he started begging for help and all that. So with the help of some people, they made a video which went viral. It was a video that caught the attention of Her Excellency, Mrs. Kafayat Oyetola.
The Nigerian Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, has been commended for decentralizing its activities from the national to the sub-national and local government levels. This commendation came from stakeholders during the inaugural summit of all Diaspora State Focal Point Officers held in Abuja. The first ever summit, themed Leveraging Diaspora Resources for National Development, is aimed at engaging Nigerian diaspora in the socio-economic, cultural and political development of Nigeria, as well as seeing to their welfare. Find out more in this next report. Gathered here at this maiden summit are focal point officers from states across Nigeria. The overall goal is to seek stakeholders' cooperation with the Nigerians Diaspora Commission to increase the interest and engagement of citizens outside the shores of the country for sustainable development. In 2018, Nigeria ranked 7th on the list of top countries with international remittances with an inflow of $25 billion. Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Zubairu Dada, says this is an indication that more economic strength can be drawn from the Nigerian diaspora.
The 2018 figure translates to 83% of the federal government budget in 2018 and 11 times the foreign direct investment flows in the same period. PricewaterhouseCoopers also estimates that migrant remittances to Nigeria could grow to 25.5 billion in 2019, 29.8 billion in 2021, and $34.8 billion in 2023. This emphasizes the importance of our diaspora body.
Other speakers at the event called for a coherent policy framework to harness remittances into generating capital for productive development.
We must, as a matter of giving ourselves a timeline, to come up with diaspora policy. I know the Commission is already working on that, but all our efforts will be focused. We'll be able to draw up achievable targets if we're able to finalize on a diaspora policy that would have the input of all stakeholders, both within Nigeria and outside Nigeria.
We've sent the diaspora policy to the Federal Executive Council, and hopefully it will soon become a reality. By the time we have that diaspora policy, we'll have a holistic policy to guide all diaspora engagements. And of course, we can transmit that to all the states. And we'll also plan to set up a diaspora investment trust fund, as we have said here. And we also want all states to participate in it. And I think there's also need for a diaspora charity fund. Because we have many of our brothers and sisters in distress, and a lot of people in diaspora have said, how can we help? Again, that I think we should also set up in partnership with you all.
A lot of initiatives are coming up. We're going to be going around to various countries, engaging the diaspora, telling them that we want you to contribute to our state in real estate, in technology, in healthcare and education, so we can see a greater Lagos come to reality in our lifetime.
The Nigerian diaspora covers practically every part of the world, with estimates ranging from 5 to 15 million people. Due to the ever-growing figure, Nigeria is gradually becoming one of the top recipients of remittances in the world. We'll take a break here, and when we return, we'll be discussing with one of the focal point officers who took part in that NIDCAM summit. Please don't go away.
Corruption not in my country.
How work?
Oh, correct, Oga.
What is it that you are doing?
Oga, they come out the part now. Make we go sell for.
Oga, na correct kuza be this so. Oga Titus and him boys them. They do am. They will come out the original parts, sell them, make plenty kuza.
No wonder our customers bring the generator back to our workshop because they bad. And not because of stuff.
Now because they overuse the generator. Plus say NEPA no they give them electricity.
Before I open my eye, Makachuku look at my talk in the heaven. Replace this original generator parts back inside this generator of my customer. In short, before una do am, frog jump. One, frog jump. 1, 2, 1. Stealing of generator parts or changing of original parts to a fake one. That is corruption. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Welcome back. Now, joining me on the program is Celia Osakwe-Hibat, the Special Advisor to... Now, let me begin by asking you, during the summit, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Diaspora, Ajibola Bashiru, highlighted a good number of issues he felt were threats to the activities of the Diaspora Commission, one of which he said is the need for a policy framework. And that policy, according to him, will help manage remittances, keep in touch with Nigerians outside the country and more. What do you make of this?
Yes, you totally agree with him, actually, because you cannot pursue any project without a proper framework. So whatever we do, we need framework, but even further, not just framework, we need legislations to bind whatever decisions that we're making. So people are held within the law to actually behave a certain way. So it's all right to have a plan, but it's another thing to actually enact it as part of the law. So our legislators also have a role to play in terms of working with diasporans, so that when these genius ideas come on board, we're able to also ring-fence it with our legislations and enact it as part of the law of the country. So somebody was talking about the Bureau de Change, making sure everybody has a certain place where monies are changed. I think it's a fantastic idea, because that will help seal the loopholes where other monies, come through. We'll be able to quantify how much actually comes in. At the moment, we have a lot of black market businesses, and these things incapacitate the whole essence of what we're trying to achieve. So we need to understand how to legislate. We need to understand how to ensure that we have a credible framework, so that when we're working, we're capturing the absolute scenario of the economic interactions, not just half and half. At the moment, we're just doing half and half. We don't actually have any tangible figure on hand. I can change money right here with you, or you can just go down the road and change money. We want a situation whereby anybody changing money is linked to a corporate body, so we know how much is being changed, how much the rates are changed for. This will also help with money laundering. So we need to have a framework. So I absolutely agree with him on that one. So have a framework, but go even further and get the legislators to look at documents and review some legislations to underpin what we're trying to achieve.
And recently, Imo State held a Diaspora Summit. Can you just tell us more about that?
The Imo State Summit recently held was actually a success. We had Kema Chikwe, we had several people there. And as you heard, Abike Dabri was absolutely fascinated by how all of that was put together, and she urged other states to follow suit. So hopefully next year we are going to be, or maybe this year, towards about Christmas, December period, we're going to have another one, and it's even going to be bigger and better. So the summit basically is to draw into summary what our aims and objectives are, how far we've gone, how far we're about to go, and just take Imo State forward.
Now let me take you to remittances. Remittances from the diaspora contributes in no small measure at all to the economic growth and, of course, the development of Nigeria. But some people have exercised fears that these monies, as they come, are not well utilized. So what do you think should be done now to ensure that every fund that comes from the diaspora, every penny, is adequately made use of?
Well, as you know, there are private businesses that will continue to go ahead, with or without a commission, diaspora commission, because as you know, we have families who send money to relatives, and it's their entitlement. So, but what the commission is trying to do is to encourage investors, so that which is a different situation altogether. That's business. We have private people who send money to family members. That's completely acceptable. That's different. But what we're trying to do is ensure that we are able to convince diasporans to come home and invest, and not just to invest as Nigerian diasporans, to also bring foreigners, to invest. But that can only happen if indigents themselves trust that they can invest and get their money back. So once they can do that, then it's easier for them to sell, our country as an investment depot to other internationals. Then people can trust that they will be able to come home and invest, and then their monies are secured. But in terms of what can we do to ensure that the monies are spent properly, again, is having a diaspora commissioner or a diaspora special advisor who is in touch with the people, who understands financial interactions, such as myself, who is able to sit down and have a look at exactly what goes on, what height of interaction, financial interaction do we have in the state? How do we start to process that and have a tangible data so we can actually talk concretely? At the moment, we're just guessing. We have estimations that are not tangible. We need someone to compute the figures. We need someone to actually sit down and invest time and find out what the trends are, how much monies are sent, in what months do we have the highest amount of money is being sent, what are people thinking about, what sort of industries do they want to invest in. So this is a massive assignment. Someone needs to sit down, my office needs to sit down and start to look at the trends and start to look at the potentials and start to build the data. So when you look at that data, it says something to you. And once you have that data, then you can start managing these resources appropriately and channeling them into the right, where they're meant to be.
Of course, we do know that migration is a global phenomenon, although where the issue arises is when it is done irregularly. And you'll agree that we also have intra-migration. For instance, without mentioning names now, we know that there are some states in Nigeria that are densely populated, and the reverse is the case for the others. What do you think needs to be done to address this migration, which in most cases is usually irregular?
Irregular migration, it depends on, what that terminology means. But I'm going to assume you mean loads of people leaving the country. If that's the case, then obviously the situation is, I would say, a bit complex and pretty much somehow straightforward as well. Because I think actually people to pick up and just leave the country they're used to has to do mainly with economic circumstances in their own home country. So, for instance, if, say, you're a graduate and you're not able to find a job and you're having to live from hand to mouth and you don't know where your next income is coming from, you're not able to plan, you're not able to plan your life. If you have a family, you're not able to plan holidays, you're not able to plan school fees or medical fees, and you will instantly start to think about a better life. And in our country, Nigeria, when people think about better life, they don't necessarily think about that acquiring that better life in Nigeria. They start to think about overseas because of the picture that has been painted about overseas. And that's where that plan about migration is hatched. People start to think about migrating to go and, you know, look for better life. So economic reasons, and sometimes people migrate for love. You know, you might have a man over there you're in love with, or you might have a woman over there you're in love with. You migrate. So there are few reasons for irregular migration, but the main one is economic migration.
And speaking of economic migration, as you have rightly identified, that's one of the key reasons why we have this drift. So can you share with us what, as a diaspora focal point officer in Imo State, what is your state actually doing in getting Imo State citizens on board for development in the state?
So as you know, the diaspora office is something that's just been created recently. I think it's just, I will be just the second diaspora officer. Most states have just the first one. It's just that my state has handed over. You know, we're in a peculiar situation where we have a new government. Otherwise, it's a brand new office. And I'm very, very proud and thankful to the chairperson for diaspora, which is Apike Dabiri, who has now taken this upon herself to harness those potentials within the diaspora community. And, you know, exactly what she's just, yesterday we had a inaugural summit of focal point officers in different states in the country. As I speak to you, every single state don't even have a diaspora commission yet. So that's how new this job role is. So in terms of what Imo State is doing, like I said, it's a new office. I'm just barely 1 week old in this position. So I cannot talk for my for people who came before me. What I can say is what I'm going to be doing as the new diaspora officer. But Imo State, as a state, is a very resourceful state. So I actually call my state the economic capital of this country because of how resourceful the people are, how resilient they are, how much we make things out of nothing. So we have been struggling and trying to work individually. So the diaspora office would then coordinate all these individual efforts and try and make something out of it. So we will coordinate ourselves. We will work in collaboration with diasporans, and we will make more impact when we work collectively and, you know, collaboratively. So, yeah, so your question about what is my state doing, it's a new role. You know, up until now, what we've been doing is individual stuff. You know, people send money individually, people open establishments individually. With the Diaspora Commission, we will leverage all of these resources and make it more impactful. So that's what we're looking to do.
And of course, we can't possibly have this conversation without addressing the issue of sex trafficking and irregular migration, because more people want to belong to the diaspora, and this quest is often exploited. I know last year Imo State partnered with some NGOs for in respect to this. So my question now is, are you going to take it up from there now that you're on board?
Yes, we're going to build on what our predecessors have done, because there's no point in just completely scrapping what the predecessors have done. I'm sure they've done a few good things, and those good things, we just amplify those and even make it better. So that's what I'm coming in to do. I will build on my predecessors' successes, and I'll make even more success of what we have on ground at the moment. So yes, our office will work collaboratively with other offices, you know, and help to tackle illicit businesses, like you say, because some of them have, you know, are in the country, some of them are outside the country. So somehow it falls under my remit. So we will be working collaboratively with other commissions to ensure that our state is placed back on the map for the right reasons.
I just want to get your opinion on the recent travel restriction by the United States for 6 countries, of course, which includes Nigeria.
U.S. visa ban in Nigeria there are multiple issues to that. We've had a press release from the US government saying they've been in touch with Nigeria for a couple of years talking about this issue, predominantly how easily Nigerian passports is being acquired, and that poses a threat to their security in America. And you know, one cannot completely dismiss this assumption by the United States. What we can do is to look inwards and start to tackle the reasons why it's easy for people to come into the country and acquire passports, and also start to tackle the security fabrics of our own country. So once we're able to grapple on these issues, then we can resume conversations with the United States more meaningfully. But I think there are ongoing conversations anyway with them. But we need to address the structural challenges that we have as an emerging economy. We need to, you know, strengthen our security. Our due processes have to be more stringent, so that we will be able to deal with other first world countries, because obviously the standards are high, and we have to be seen as making sure that our standards are high as well. That way we'll be able to deal with other international communities.
Celia Osakwe-Hibbert, thank you for speaking to us on Talking Migration, and we wish you all the very best as you handle diaspora affairs in Imo State. On that note, we have come to the end of this episode of Talking Migration. You can visit our YouTube channel, TV360 Nigeria, to watch previous episodes of this program and lots more. You can also follow us across all social media platforms at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, it's TV360 Online. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.